I am honored and so proud to be here today to accept the endorsement of the National Organization for Women. And I want to thank everyone in NOW across the country for your commitment to justice and equality for all of our people. For more than 40 years, NOW has been working for a more equal America. You've been at the forefront, speaking up and fighting back. From taking on sex discrimination in the Health Wanted ads back in 1966, where it literally said, "No women need apply," to raising awareness about the importance of reproductive rights and violence against women, to standing up for Social Security and against its privatization, an issue that is critical to older women. I was proud to stand with you then when you started a series of events across our country to raise awareness against the Bush administration's radical plans to privatize Social Security. And today, I am proud to co-sponsor the Women's Equality Amendment. And now understand that making change means taking a chance. By organizing and mobilizing, you have helped change every woman's future, whether she knows it or not, and you have widened the circle of opportunity for all Americans. I'm running for president because I want to continue that work. I want to make it clear to every little girl and boy born in our country that they have a right to the American dream, and that they are going to be given the chance to live up to their God-given potential. Now that means continuing our fight for equal pay. We know that today women who work full-time, year-round, earn just 77 cents for every dollar that men make. Women of color earn even less, 67 cents for African Americans and 56 cents for Hispanics. We have come too far and sacrificed too much to continue being underpaid and undervalued. That's why I introduced the Paycheck Fairness Act, and why I will not rest until we close the pay gap that limits so many women. Standing with you means continuing to stand up to this administration when it tries to substitute ideology for science. We waged a fight together on Plan B and funding for the Women's Office at FDA. And I was proud with my colleague, Senator Patty Murray from Washington, to put a hold on this administration's nomination for FDA Commissioner until he promised to issue a decision on Plan B. We knew what the decision would be because the science was clear, but they wouldn't issue it because they didn't want to run afoul of their ideological allies. Well, it was long past time for the President to stop playing politics with our health and our reproductive rights, and we finally were successful. It also means standing with you to ensure that every woman has access to the health care and family planning services she needs. That's why yesterday I introduced the Unintended Pregnancy Reduction Act of 2007 to ensure that Medicaid covers family planning services. I also will continue the fight to end insurance discrimination. We all know that insurance policies cover certain prescriptions for men, but don't birth control for women. So we're going to keep pointing that out until we end that discrimination. It also means standing up for access to universal preschool and affordable college for our children. Every one of us knows that we leave a lot of talent behind. There are so many bright young people in every community in this country. They get to school unprepared and they fall further and further behind until they give up. We know universal pre-K would work. It is one of the best investments we can make to prepare every child for education. And then on the other end, we know that it's now become so expensive for many middle-class and working families to send a child to college that our college-going rate and graduation rate is flat. Kids are being discouraged or they're having to drop out. Well, When I say we're going to stand for those, we're going to get that done together. And another one of my goals is universal health care. It is way past time. And I have the scars to prove it. This is a challenging endeavor, but I am convinced the time has come. Health care in our country should no longer be the province of the privileged and the lucky. I just came from a meeting with the Children's Defense Fund, talking about what we were going to do to try to expand the children's health insurance program, something that I worked on when I was in the White House the first time. And there was a mother there from Texas whose son had died while she was desperately trying to find health care for him. Those of us in this area who have read the Washington papers know about the young boy with the toothache that turned into an abscess. The failure to provide dental care that might have cost $80 led to hospitalization costs of $300,000, and the infection was too far gone, and this young man died. This is no longer acceptable. It is a disgrace, and we are going to end it once and for all. Standing with you means finding the right way to end the war in Iraq. The President today is threatening to veto historic legislation that both funds our troops and calls for a phased redeployment of our troops. He is willing to veto the House of Representatives. He is willing to veto the Senate. And most importantly, he is willing to veto the will of the people who elected this Congress to start bringing our troops home. Should listen to the will of the people and the experience of those who have been working on this for years and start redeploying our troops. I challenge him to withdraw his veto threat and accept what has become obvious to us all. Now, I know there are still people who say a woman will never be elected president. Well, we've heard talk like that before, haven't we? That's what they said to Alice Paul and the suffragettes, that women would never get the vote. In fact, some of them went to jail because the president at the time refused to see them, refused to intervene in their hunger strike, and they paid a big price for their commitment to our vote. They said that about a Democratic woman being elected to the Senate in her own right. Then along came Barbara McCullough. That's what they said about a woman Speaker of the House. And that's what they said about a woman head of state in Israel and Liberia and Chile and Germany and so many other countries. And along came Golda Meir and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Michelle Bachelet and Angela Merkel. So when people tell me, or tell any of you, that a woman can't be elected president, I think we should say, we'll never know unless we try, and we are trying, and we intend to succeed in this election. Finally, I want people to vote for the candidate they believe is most qualified to be President of the United States. I believe I am that candidate. I believe I'm the most qualified and experienced to hit the ground running in January 2009. And I believe it is now time to show not just our sons, but also our daughters. They too can be president. Now is the time to end the attitudes toward the rest of the world that have broken our alliances, alienated people everywhere. Now is the time to begin ending the war in Iraq and restore our relations. Now is the time for a woman, on behalf of all women, to break the highest glass ceiling in the land and serve as President of the United States. Now is our time. Thank you all.